I've got a tale for you today. For the past 3 years, I've been building this world, Tourmaline, for my online graphic novel, or webcomic, depending on which scroll you're reading. My story is called The Lost Land Sage, and I filled this story's world with unique characters, a forgotten royal lineage, and secrets older than time that are just waiting to be uncovered. In most of my videos you'd find on this channel, I take you behind the curtain of execution of my passions. But today, I thought that you might enjoy stories pulled straight from the archives of the very world my passion is based in. Stories that have been woven deep into the bones of this world and the stories that come out of it. We are diving back a full century before the story that some of you may be familiar with begins. And no, this isn't just a lore dump in disguise or a way to fit in content I didn't include in the actual graphic novel. I only called this series a lore dump because I'm clever and I'm witty. No, in all honesty, I call it that because it made me laugh. Everything that I share here, every whisper, secret, betrayal, and prophecy, all threads into the tale that is still unfolding in the present day. The tale of the Lost Land Sage. And before you ask, yes, if you wish to read the tale yourself, the links are all in the description. But I won't be telling you more about my story or how you can get some extra goodies until the very end of this video. It'd be really cool of you if you stuck around for that. For now, let me set the scene. The year is 1925, and the age of kings and queens is about to fall. As I've told you many moons ago, before Wisteria's tale and long before the Covens claimed ownership of the fractured land that is Tourmaline today, there was an age of kings and queens. This was an era when witches and wizards lived in balance with their powers united under just rule. Yes, this was a time when men still had magic. Magic that was just as potent and powerful as their witch counterparts. The magic of the two worked together harmoniously. This was a time of peace and equality. Equal responsibility, equal respect. Very different from the world we see Tourmaline as today. At the heart of this time stood the kingdom of Greater Tourmaline. The kingdom was mighty and prosperous under the reign of King Frederick Astley and Queen Heather Astley. King Frederick was a wise and strong wizard, and his queen, Queen Heather, a witch of unparalleled knowledge and ambition. It was their rule together that maintained such harmony and cultivated a people that thrived in unity. It was said the royals not only ruled well together, but loved each other fiercely. Eventually, in the grand halls of Castle Astley under the moon and stars, and due to this fierce love itself, the royal couple welcomed 2 children into the world, Princess Hadley and Prince Christopher. Twins. A princess witch and a prince wizard, seemingly destined for greatness. Though Prince Christopher and Princess Hadley were inseparable friends for most of their childhood, in their 10th year it was plain to many that their talents diverged greatly. Princess Hadley wielded magic with effortless ease and poise. She was a young prodigy whose spells danced through the halls of the castle on any given day. She tried new incantations and invented new casting methods for fun. Princess Hadley was a magical force in the making, and no one kept that a secret from her. Every moment of her life was filled with her family and her subjects repeating to her how amazing she is. Eventually, she started to believe them. Prince Christopher, though slower to master magic, and never to the same capacity of his sister, revealed a different kind of power. He shadowed his father around the castle, sitting in meetings and taking an interest in politics. Prince Christopher gained wisdom, patience, and a deep empathy for both magical civilians and non-magical creatures of the world alike. He had compassion for the plight of subjects, and a sense of justice for the pain their sometimes cruel world would afflict. Prince Christopher was loved by his family and his subjects. His quick wit and charming smile could make anyone fall in love. And many did, but the prince never let their adoration steer him away from his goals. Together, these twin royals were a force as strong as their parents, strong and just, expertly proficient, and kind. But in all reality, only one of the two could inherit the throne. The twins' father, King Frederick, saw the heart of a ruler in Prince Christopher. Queen Heather, however, believed Princess Hadley's raw power made her the rightful successor. The queen insisted that someone strong can be taught to rule, but a weak magic user is reliant and bound to be manipulated by those stronger. The king, who himself inherited the throne, thought that strength meant more than raw power, that a kind heart can't be taught. He saw the stubborn self-righteousness of his daughter and did not see her as the next ruler. As a result, in secret, the king named Prince Christopher his heir. With this one act, the fate of Greater Tourmaline was sealed and set into motion. And, just as suddenly as Greater Tourmaline's fate was sealed, the king's untimely death claimed him. Tears were shed, a funeral was held, and many a heart was broken. No one suspected such an early death for a seemingly perfectly healthy king, especially in a land without war. The most shocked was the queen, who soon realized that the king might have been more aware of his mortality than anyone else, even she, ever knew. Because in the wake of sorrow, it was revealed that the king had already penned a will, and in his will, it stated that Prince Christopher was to inherit the throne. Outraged, Princess Hadley denounced the decree with vehemence. Betrayed, Queen Heather supported her daughter's anger. Both witches claimed the throne as Hadley's birthright and rallied followers in support of this claim. The result of this was clear. The kingdom split. A fissure formed in the strong foundation of the long-standing kingdom. Wizards and witches from all over were forced to choose sides, whether they believed Prince Christopher was to take the throne, the prince, a young man loved by many and the king's chosen heir, or whether they supported Princess Hadley's claim to the throne. The princess, a witch of strength she wasn't afraid to use, and the queen's favorite. Tensions rose with every debate, and yelling matches turned to blows during negotiations that finally broke the tensions. Any attempt at civility was quickly being forgotten as the ire and frustration of the queen and her daughter passed to their supporters. The fissure turned to a full-on canyon. It was inevitable that the magic war of 1945 would ignite. For years, the magic war of 1945 raged on. Princess Hadley's sorcery was all in all devastating for Prince Christopher's camp. She was unmatched in her magic's intensity and her own tenacity. Prince Christopher, though courageous in the face of opposition and strategic from his many days learning from his father, still could not overcome the obstacle that was the absolute inferno of his sister's jealousy-fueled wrath. When the war finally ended, Prince Christopher was simply gone, like he'd vanished into thin air. Some say his sister entered his camp under the cape of night for another attempt at negotiations. But, in a fit of rage, she disintegrated her twin brother where he stood. Others say the prince deserted his camp in the middle of the night, leaving them to be overtaken by his stubborn and quite scary sister. No one knows what actually happened, but one thing was certain. No matter what happened to the prince, his banner had indeed fallen. The prince's supporters scattered, whether from fear or defeat is your best guess, but definitely for the safety of themselves and their family. To everyone's surprise, the prince's name and very existence was stricken from every record. Princess Hadley became the only child of the queen and late king. No one dared bring up Prince Christopher's name, and the prince's body was never found. Princess Hadley, now the queen of Greater Tourmaline, rose from the ashes of war. Her first decree is the very thing that reshaped the world of magic as we had known it to what we know it as today. Though every trace of the queen's brother was gone, she still held contempt for him in her heart. And maybe, if she looked deeply and cared to admit it, there was a smattering of fear of the wizard she once called family. Wizards. All wizards, young and old and yet to be born, who, as we remember, were once seen as a witch's equal, were forever made inferior. Queen Hadley used a forbidden spell to seal away the magic of wizards, a spell that was rumored to be cast with Hadley's own blood. And after the fate of man was changed with this one selfish and sacred act, witches ruled the land of Greater Tourmaline unchallenged. It seemed to all that the entire Astley line belonged to the once princess, now Queen Hadley, and Queen Hadley alone. But I'll tell a secret to all of you that have listened to my story so far. After all, this world forgets much too easily. But some remember. Long before the war, when the kingdom still stood tall and whole, there is a rumor that the Blood Witch came to Queen Heather. The Blood Witch appeared to the queen as an ancient figure. She was cloaked in crimson, eyes black, yet somehow burning, like coals with an eternal flame. She whispered of prophecy and the mounting of power. She spoke of change. She offered the queen knowledge and a spell, one that can ensure she'd have a daughter, and her daughter would be a queen. That the very essence of magic would exist in her daughter's heart. Queen Heather listened eagerly, drinking the Blood Witch's every word like sacred water. Really, it was poison in disguise. But in the queen's defense, what mother wouldn't want her child to succeed? So yes, it was unexpected to Queen Heather that she'd have a boy when she gave birth to her prophesied baby girl. But the Blood Witch had already foretold her daughter's destiny. Queen Heather figured it didn't much matter if she had a boy as well. Her daughter's future was cemented in blood. It was said that the Blood Witch was the one who guided the queen in shaping Hadley into the ruthless ruler she grew to be, making her greater than any wizard king. Or, that's what the princess's mother would whisper in her ear. When the king died, some even dared to whisper of a shadowy figure seen slinking through the royal halls and standing behind the queen that night. Small murmurs of foul play stirred beneath the morning silence. Somehow, every mounting accusation of evil was quickly quieted. And then, well, you know how the story goes by now. The war followed, and at its end, when Queen Hadley emerged victorious, it was said that the Blood Witch was who stood at the Queen's side. Some are so bold to claim it was the Blood Witch who summoned the storms that had drowned the Ghost Prince's final stand. Others believe she was the actual witch that cast a spell that stripped wizards of their power, sealing their legacy in silence and blood. No matter what the whispers were, Queen Hadley took the throne, and the Blood Witch's shadow stretched long behind her. Ever present, ever smiling, ever watching. And when Queen Hadley eventually died, the Blood Witch did not mourn. She did what at this point should feel familiar. She simply vanished. Or so the story goes. Be sure to let me know if you've enjoyed my story with a like or a comment below. If you want to know what's happening in the world of Tourmaline today, and my tale here for you left you full of questions, then you absolutely must journey into the Lost Land Sage yourself. Many of my answers are hidden in the pages, tucked between panels and buried in dialogue. You can read 2 new pages every other Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Comic Fury. Like I said earlier, just journey on down to the description box and follow the links. For those of you keeping track, that means that next week, 2 fresh new pages will be released. And that will be the start of Chapter 4. So, right now, I'd say be sure to catch up if you haven't. Should you favor WEBTOON as your platform, 2 new pages arrive each and every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so right now there are new pages out. BT Dubs, WEBTOON is a few pages behind Comic Fury, so tread carefully because spoilers are there around every corner for anyone that is enchanted to WEBTOON only. If you'd like to return to this storytelling and story crafting corner of the YouTube internet, I'll be back with a new tale in 2 weeks' time. I highly recommend subscribing, or else the winds of the algorithm will carry me away before you can find your way back. I am so grateful for the over 200 of you that have decided to stick around. If any of you, 200 plus, or other guests to the channel don't want to leave this world behind just yet, you can support me and the Lost Land Sage on KoFi, also down in the description. I post free detailed blog updates and make my Discord, early page releases, and monthly digital downloads, along with a few other things, available to members. By the way, we are getting close to the end of part 1 of book 1 for the Lost Land Sage, so that means it's time to prepare for the dub. I'll give more details about the audition soon, but leave a comment of the character you would love to voice. Also, I'm thinking of opening a tier on my KoFi where you can pay to sponsor my videos, and I will advertise your own webcomic, graphic novel, or creative project for you. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. Okay, now, all I have left to say is stay curious and suffer the consequences. Until next time, you guys. Bye!